Okay, I believe we are streaming now. Until some of you start getting texts and calls, we'll assume that's the case. All right, we've just been in closed session. Do I have a motion to adjourn the closed session? Andy? Second by Joey. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay. Item 5, discuss or and approve clarification regarding employer insurance contributions.
We want to have the motion from the clerk.
That's what this is.
Okay.
Yes. I need someone to make the motion and with the clerk reading it for us.
The motion is to continue the board's current insurance contribution for the 2026 plan year for the ambulance employees under the IAM CDA and the Sheriff's Department and the FOP union contracts unless otherwise negotiated with the respective unions.
So Andy's making the motion, Don seconds. Is there any discussion?
This is for clarification.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Item 6, approval of previous month's regular meeting minutes. Natalie emailed those earlier today, I think. Does anyone?
Motion to approve.
Tom makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mark. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Item 7, discuss and/or approve selection of unemployment insurance program for 2026. I did email each of you, I think Sunday evening, an email with a proposed agreement from ICRMT, who's our current carrier. And that is one option to renew that proposal. Derek, I think you have some thoughts or just comments on this?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So I was not given the renewal, or not the renewal, I was not emailed this specifically. It was sent to our county clerk and our Madam Chairman. But there is an option, which I think is to be clarified now, that it definitively is very apparent that the unemployment was not part of the property casualty bid that we received initially. I know there was a lot of confusion by a couple of board members and other elected officials on whether it was part of it or not, but it's very clear now it's not. It stands on its own. So I did receive a couple of other bids regarding this unemployment, because had we passed the property casualty with another carrier, then we were going to have to get something potentially different. So I do have other rates, but I think I'll probably point out more to the point. The renewal that we have here has a 1.335%. It doesn't really give us a dollar amount. So to the best of my ability, I believe that dollar amount translates into about $25,000. When researching and trying to find other bids on this, I did find somebody that came in at about $20,000. But I think more to the point is that unemployment is really just something that's paid out upon when you need it. If somebody becomes unemployed, they file unemployment, or if we lay somebody off, they file unemployment, they claim benefits, and then the insurance kicks in. But we don't have to carry insurance. We can basically self-report, and so when getting the bids, To the best of my knowledge, I think we paid about $25,000 a year over the last 3 years. So we paid out $75,000 in premium, and we paid $549 in claims. The county is not normally a huge turnover industry, so therefore we don't have a lot of people that are claiming unemployment. So I'm looking at proposing, again, it wasn't part of the renewal of the property casualty that's already been taken care of. It's a separate policy, but we basically are already self-reporting as we get a claim. And I'm proposing that we look at not purchasing unemployment insurance. There's $25,000 that's been budgeted into the tort liability fund right now for that premium. Therefore, we could have that $25,000 sitting there as our reserve to potentially pay unemployment claims. And if we don't have any claims, or we only have $500 worth of claims, then we would sit on the $24,500 of premium we would have spent out. So anyway, I just wanted to propose that there is a renewal on the table, that we could go ahead and obligate ourselves to another $25,000 premium, or we potentially look at self-funding unemployment. And I think our history has proven that that possibly is a potential risk we could look at taking. So I just wanted to pass that on.
Are there any other items included with our unemployment insurance besides just unemployment coverage that we'd be getting up?
They didn't send a policy, so to
Oh.
Mr. Lewis's point in the past, to where, where's the policy at? There really is no unemployment policy. Traditionally, most employers basically pay the Illinois Department of Employment Security, or IDIS. I mean, it's very rare that you actually go get another unemployment insurance plan. It kind of makes sense, though, if you're being pooled with everybody else out there, and then you could go ahead and maybe look at taking a separate policy that might be less expensive. You could save some money. But when discussing this with the getting a quote on this, and then talking to some other counties, a lot of counties actually do self-insure. And the potential worst case scenario is that if we end up having a bad year for unemployment, it is paid out of the tort liability fund. So therefore, if need be, we may have to borrow money in the 1 year to get the benefits paid out, and then levy for the next year in order to pay it back. But it is a leviable rate to produce. So if we needed 50,000, we could levy to get to 50,000. But history is kind of saying that we paid $75,000 in premium and $549 in claims. The insurance company's making a good chunk of money off of this. And the other thing is on unemployment, that's not an indefinite, like a disability plan, to where they indefinitely pay unemployment to their 65. There's a cap on how much unemployment can be paid for somebody. They're supposed to be going out and finding a job and so forth. Eventually that runs out. If they get another job and then they become unemployed, well, then they're on that job's unemployment. So it's not like we're stuck with these people indefinitely. And respectfully, we haven't had any people. As I said, I think that was just the one claim we had, and that was in last year. There were no claims in 23 or in 24. So it's a matter of, do we want to spend $25,000 on a maybe, or do we keep that $25,000 in our tort liability fund to maybe use towards something else to have for later down the road? But it's a risk. I mean, we may have layoffs and such, that we may incur something that might be more than that $25,000. It's just, that's what insurance is about. It's an unknown. So,
As Mr. Ross stated, and it's exactly what happened, we were at a conference, and it was explained to us that we could get unemployment insurance through ICRMT, which was cheaper than what we were paying the state. So that's what we did. But I'm not against the proposal Mr. Ross is bringing up, to just self-insure. And in that situation, right, we can definitely,
We can see what a year does,
yeah.
and then see what happens. If it you come back the next year, we've got to raise the rates produced, or we decide to go with the insurance.
I think what we need to do at budget time, we'll need to see what it's cost us if we've had to put out anything for unemployment insurance or the,
And I don't mean to speak for our payroll here, but my understanding is that the state would say, here's what benefits have been paid out. You need to pay the state of Illinois those benefits back. So they'll let us know, no different than they've let us know how the claims have been done right now, on how much they've had to pay out in benefits. So then they send us a quarterly bill and say, here's what you owe. So I just think, especially in our fiscal situation that we are right now, it's a calculated risk, but it is a risk. But I just wanted to point it out that there are options here, so.
so if we take no action, then we just actually don't have any insurance?
I think it would be better if we had a motion to be self-insured and do that for this year.
I agree, it'd probably be better.
Then there's no question.
I'll
Don, you're making that motion?
make a motion that we go with self-insurance on the unemployment for fiscal year '26.
Second, Joey, your second? Is there any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Natalie, will you inform ICRMT, or do you want me to do that?
Yeah, I'll respond back to email.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 8, discuss and/or approve clarification of property and casualty insurance renewal contract. This came up at last month's meeting. I'd like to explain why I have it on the agenda again. Twice the board voted not to go with CIRMA for the property and casualty insurance. At the end, I think Monday, if you'll recall, the November meeting was recessed, so we met on Monday and Tuesday. At the end of the Monday session, the ICRMT representative came up to me and had a copy of a renewal contract for the property and casualty. I was surprised by it because I thought that Walker had informed me we didn't have to renew that since we're a member of them. That may have been my misunderstanding, I don't know. But I was presented with this, and I told him I wanted to look at it. It was, as I remember it, my memory may be a little off, but I remember it being about 1/4 of an inch thick, and I just wanted to go through it. And so I took it home that evening. When I brought it back the next night, during the meeting, Walker and Tom said that Tom had, as vice chair, had already signed the contract. Obviously, I was kind of shocked and wasn't sure how that should be handled. No one talked to me about signing it at all. My plan had been, because it was not on the agenda for the regular meeting, my plan was to call an emergency meeting following the regular meeting Tuesday night, have us as a full board vote on it, and then deal with it from there. But in the meantime, Tom signed it. I am worried, and Walker may feel differently, but I'm worried that another attorney, if anything were to go wrong, could argue that the contract isn't valid because it wasn't approved by the board and it wasn't signed by the chair. So I put it on the agenda to see what the board members would like to do. I think the appropriate thing to do is for this board, because remember, all you voted on twice was to deny the CIRMA proposal. We never voted on a proposal to contract with ICRMT. So I think we should do a proposal tonight, a motion to contract with them, have that properly seconded and voted on, and then I could always go in and co-sign the contract. That would be what I think is a good way to handle it at this stage.
May I speak to that just clearly here?
Please do.
No, actually, thank you for putting it on the agenda because I think the air needed to be cleared on this because I had a lot of people accuse me of throwing you under the bus, Madam Chairman, and that wasn't what I did.
I never said that.
You didn't say that,
Okay.
but a lot of other people did. And so what happened was we had a, number one, ICRMT, just like CIRMA, is a intergovernmental cooperation agreement. That's a contract. We're in with them. We had never given them any kind of notice that we were getting out. So we are part of that organization until we tell them that we're out. And our annual year was coming up. And for the first time in a long time, the board decided to bid it out. And we had a binary choice. It was either stay with ICRMT because that was the only other bid, or go with CIRMA. So it was a binary choice. And the board voted twice to not go with CIRMA. And so by default, the only other place you're going is with ICRMT. And it was, we were on November 25th. The year was December 1st. And so we were running out of time to get things done. And effectively, the signature that they require is a ministerial act. It's something that's done every year. And yes, the board has always voted on it every year. But again, in the way it went down for the first time in a long time, this was a binary choice. And so by not going with CIRMA, we were by default going with ICRMT, and we were certainly still in ICRMT and would have been even if nothing had happened with that signature. But it's still a signature that they required. So what happened was the representative was here in October when the CIRMA vote was voted down, and then it came back up on the agenda, and I won't go over all that, and it was voted down again. And so now here we are on
December 22nd?
No.
Oh, I'm
no,
sorry.
No, I'm talking about last meeting.
Oh.
So here we are in late November. And so after it was ascertained that CIRMA was not going to win the bid, then he came up and he presented you that paperwork. Now, it was at the end of the meeting. And you came up to me at the end of the meeting and told me.
The meeting was over.
Yeah, the meeting was over.
Yeah.
And came up and told me what was going on. So I came up right there and reviewed everything and said, yeah, this is an order. And they were the surviving bid, and we're still in. And I said, I don't see anything wrong with you signing this. And then I left, and you guys were still talking. So that's kind of how I left it. And the next morning, that happened on Monday night when we recessed.
Right.
The next morning, Tuesday, that's my busy criminal day. So I was in here 8:30. At the break, which is usually Judge McCartney breaks around 10 o'clock or so, I always like to check my emails. And we received an email earlier in the morning, like at 8:30 or something, from ICRMT, from Mr. Snedeker, who we had met with the night before, saying, hey, here's that document that I want Rita to sign. And I opened it up, and it was the exact same document that he had presented. And so I was somewhat confused because I thought that perhaps you were going to sign it the night before, but whatever. So I said, that's fine. And then the clerk, Ms. Roseberry, contacted me and said, has Rita not signed this yet? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't know why he would send it if she hadn't, but I said, just, you know, because you got the email, you were listed on the email. So
I don't remember that.
yeah, you were on the email, and he sent it to you, the clerk, and me. And so I was like, oh, okay, fine. I wasn't too worried about it. And then I went back to court, and then about 11 o'clock, we took another break or so, and then we start Zoom court thereafter. And I got a call from the clerk saying, I haven't gotten a response from Rita yet. And I said, well, okay, that's fine. Because in the email, Mr. Snedeker made it clear that he had a 5 o'clock deadline that afternoon, that they wanted that signed back because they were going to be closed the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and closed throughout the Thanksgiving weekend. And then December 1st was Monday. And so they wanted to have that signed document in their files. And so I instructed the clerk, I said, well, you know, just let's wait a little bit. And if we don't hear from Rita, just get a hold of Mr. Lewis and see if he'll sign it. And so we get to the meeting, and I get informed that, oh, yeah, Mr. Lewis, I got a hold of Mr. Lewis, and he signed it and sent it back. And I didn't think anything of it. We went, we did all the other stuff, passed the budget, this, that, and the other thing, and then we came down to chairman's remarks. And that's when you brought this up. And so I was, like I said, I was accused of throwing you under the bus, so I went back and listened to the video today just to make sure that I hadn't missed something. And so you start talking about it in chairman's remarks. And, you know, for me, chairman's remarks is, you know, no action, no nothing, it's just chairman's remarks. So I'm not going to be too focused in on it. But you start talking about how you got this document and this and that. And after you had spoken for about 1 minute and 25 seconds, because I timed it, you said, I don't know, well, let's talk about whether I should sign this or not. And you could go back and look at it. After you'd been talking about it for 1 minute and 25 seconds, I leaned into the clerk and I said, did she not get a copy of the signed one that Mr. Lewis had? And the clerk indicated, I don't think so. And 11 seconds later, after I said that, I interrupted you and said, hey, here's what happened. And so that's what happened. I apologize if it looked bad, because it did look bad, but I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. I got an email that they had a 5 o'clock deadline. We hadn't heard anything, and so as far as I'm concerned, they had been approved, but if you want to belt and suspender it, I'm okay with that.
Well, and let me clarify, again, I never said or told anybody you threw me off the bus, and I'm not looking for an apology. I want to correct myself, because when you mentioned that they were closing the day before Thanksgiving, I remember that part of that email. I did get that email. My concern is, you know, you get a thick document like that, and you're asked to sign it on the spot. All I told him was, the way I left it with him in my memory, again, the meeting was over, so it won't be on any tape or anything, is that I wanted to look at it.
And that's fine.
And so I did that. My only comment in response to what you said is, at no point on Tuesday did any of you try to call me. And now I did get his email, but when somebody like that, I mean, if you were in private business, I don't think you would just put something in somebody's face and say, sign this, and not give you a chance to really look it over. But that, whatever happened, that's water under the bridge. The point is now, I think it would erase any question if we just reviewed the motion now, because I see what you're saying about a default, but the fact is, the only two motions we voted on was whether to go to SERMA, and those were both defeated. So I think if people are willing, if someone could make a motion to officially approve the contract with ICRMT, and second that, and then we could vote on that and move on.
I'll make that motion, since it's got my name on it.
Tom motion, do we have a second? Mark seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
Okay. 2 nay, Derek and Joey. 3, Lance. So it's 5-3. And the motion passes, and the board approves the ICRMT contract. Item number 9, approval of resolution stating the board agrees to participate in the service program of the Office of the State's Attorney's Appellate Prosecutor for the period of 12/1/25 through 11/30/26 at a cost of $10,000. This is something we did last year. The $10,000 is in the budget. Do we have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Mark, second by Tom. Any discussion?
Just explain it a little bit, or Walker.
Explain it a little bit, do you mind?
The appellate prosecutor's office sits in Springfield, and they're a statewide agency. And so whenever we have a criminal matter that needs to be appealed, they handle it for us. That's their job. And obviously, well, not obviously to non-lawyers, but appeals are very long and arduous things to take up. But that's just a small part of what they do. They provide us with constant updates on what the law is and case law, Supreme Court decisions, appellate court decisions that affect what we do every day. I just got one today from the executive director, in fact. We get those updates about every month, usually more like every 3 weeks. They're a resource if we have any questions on anything. They're a resource for anything that we have. And then more importantly, to me at least, is whenever we have conflicts, like if the judge has a conflict or if I have a conflict, and that's where they've really been helpful here the last 2.5 years, because I was public defender before I became state's attorney, and so I had a whole stable of clients that when I became state's attorney I couldn't prosecute. And so we go to them, this agency, and they have one of their attorneys come and handle all the prosecutions. And so we're almost done with that from the over 200 clients that I had, and in clearing out that backlog. They also provide expert attorneys for, like, for example, the big Rod House case that we had last year. They have attorneys who are experts on sex crimes. They have attorneys who are expert on other type of crimes, and we lean on them a lot, especially for a lot of detailed stuff. But I mean, just in the last 2 years, I mean, they have, in the time that they have spent with their attorneys coming here and helping cover conflict cases, if you had to price that out, it'd be in the 6 figures. So, I mean, it's, as as I told the board when I was on the board 15 years ago, this is probably the best bang for the buck that you get of anything that you purchase. So, and it used to be $8,000, but it went up to $10,000, I think 2 or 3 years ago. It's based on the size of your county. So if we were what's that?
Should have gone down.
Well, no, it was under 50 on population. But some of the bigger counties, they pay these guys, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. So
And it is not going up. It was 10,000.
yeah, it was 10,000 last
And
year.
it is again, so there's no
Yeah.
increase.
Yeah, yeah.
So is there any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, item 10, approval of resolution authorizing the chair to execute a deed of conveyance of the county's interest in parcel 73-05203 in Spring Creek Township for the sum of $300 to be paid to the treasurer. Do I have a motion? Mark? Second by Tom. Any discussion?
What is this, madam?
Scott, do you want to speak more specifically to this?
It's just a trustee sale. The trustee.
It puts a non-conforming property back on the tax rolls.
What part, well, I mean, what is it? What piece is it?
South of Depot, my regular
That's a lot of area there.
I don't have a list of the parcel number here with me, so, but what it is a trustee sale. This is what we do every year. We'll sell them off and whatever's not bought during our regular sale, it can be purchased throughout the entire year. So what they've done is sold another one after the fact. And it basically puts it back on the tax roll.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Item 11, committee reports. Don, Finance?
The Finance Committee of the Pike County Board was called to order at 4:07 PM. Members were present, Don Foster, Lance Kendrick, Derek Ross, Rita Hoskins, and several guests, which are noted at the bottom. Audit for the fiscal year 22 will not be completed until the end of January of 26. Walker Filbert indicated he needs to back off from being on lead on information. His recommendation was to set up an in-person meeting of Lauterbach and Amen, Sickich, Finance Committee, Treasurer, et cetera, to map out the path for completion of audits. Budget was discussed with everyone needing to help reduce deficit. Financial policy is being developed by Lance Kendrick and Andy Barman. Some information was presented by Natalie Roseberry for fee study. She is still compiling information and will present next month. Bids for anticipation note were opened. United Community Bank at 5.08% and Farmers State Bank at 4.67%. A motion by Lance Kendrick, second by Derek Ross, to recommend to the full board to accept Farmers State Bank offer of 4.67% for fiscal year 2026. Motion approved. Bills of $4,255.02 of paid bills and unpaid of $49,757.06 for a total of $54,012.08 for fiscal year 2025, period 13, and paid of $380.71, unpaid of $30,105.07 for a total of $30,485.78 for fiscal year 2026, for a grand total of $84,497.86. Motion by Lance Kendrick, second by Derek Ross to approve. Motion approved. Motion to adjourn by Lance Kendrick, second by Derek Ross. Motion approved, adjourned at 5:54 PM, December 17th, 2025.
Do I have a motion to approve the finance minutes? Motion by Derek, second by Lance. Any discussion? Derek, Joey, I'm sorry.
Andy, what you and Lance discussing on policy?
It's policies and procedure manual. is what
Okay.
We haven't gotten anything from the counties that
Natalie's got, I think we've got a few, I'm aware of at least a couple.
Yeah, we've got examples of what other counties have for financial policies, just including what Walker presented for, Williamsburg County.
do I get a copy of those?
Yes, it was an email that was sent out in March of
Okay.
last year, so I'll forward it because it probably got buried, so I will make sure that I send that out.
Yeah, it would be deeply buried by now.
I will do this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don,
Yes.
did any of those period 13 bills put anybody over their budgets?
I haven't looked yet. I left after the meeting, and I just got back last night, so
Look at that,
I haven't had time to compare them.
build ours. Lance.
Sorry, Jim, but
Just curious.
okay. Yeah.
So it'll be Pike County's policies and procedures.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. And we have a separate request for a motion under finance. Approval of resolution for the issuance of an anticipation note in the amount of 1.3 million with the Farmers State Bank at 4.67% plus a 250 application fee. As you heard in the minutes, Scott sent out a request for bids to 8 different banks. 2 responded. The other bid was from UCB at 5.08%. So the committee is recommending the Farmers State Bank at 4.67. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution? Tom, second by Don. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Joey, highway minutes?
Road and Bridge Committee meeting minutes, December 17th, 2025. The Road and Bridge Committee met Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 at 1:30 PM at the Highway Department facility located at 39643 260th Avenue, Pittsfield, Illinois 62363. The meeting was called to order at 1:30 PM. Roll call present were Rita Hoskins, Joe Cobb, Don Foster, and Andy Barman. Staff, Chris Johnson, Gary Locks, and Michelle McCartney. No visitors, no public comment. Payment of claims. A motion was made by Andy Barman, seconded by Don Foster to pay claims per claim reports dated December 17th, 2025. All in favor, motion carried. Half 8 to bridge closeouts, there were none. 2026 schedule of regular meeting dates. A motion was made by Andy Barman, seconded by Don Foster to approve the 2026 schedule of regular meeting dates. All in favor, motion carried. 6-month report. The 6-month report dated 6/01/2025 through 11/30/2025 was submitted to the committee. A motion was made by Andy Barman, seconded by Don Foster to approve the report. The motion carried. Resolution 2025-04, Section 20-00102-00-PP. A discussion was held regarding the construction cost for County Highway 2 resurfacing from Griggsville, east city limit easterly to County Highway 21 intersection in Valley City, and County Highway 14 reconstruction from County Highway 2 southerly to Detroit north city limit, as well as a discussion regarding the resolution to expand additional FAM funds for the construction cost. Section 20-00102-00-PP, a motion was made by Don Foster, seconded by Andy Barman to approve the resolution and to refer to full board. Motion carried. New business, the heavy snow damaged most of the gutters on the county highway building. The insurance adjuster is recommending that all the gutters be replaced. Old business, there were none. Adjournment, a motion was made by Don Foster, seconded by Andy Barlman to adjourn the meeting at 2 p.m. All in favor, motion carried.
Do I have a motion to approve the highway minutes? Andy, second by Don. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Do have a couple of separate items under highway. The first is approval of a resolution required by the Illinois Department of Transportation regarding funding for resurfacing of County Highway 2 between Griggsville, East City Limit, easterly to County Highway 21 intersection in Valley City, and for the reconstruction of County Highway 14 between County Highway 2 southerly to Detroit North City Limit. Again, this is something that's required by IDOT. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution? Mark, second by Joey. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. The second item under highway is the acceptance of Chris's 6-month report for the highway department. Do I have a motion? Joey, second by Tom. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any nay? Motion carries. Derek, GISIT?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The GISIT committee was called to order at 4:05 p.m. on December 16, 2025 at the Pike County EOC Center. Committee members Derek Ross, Don Foster, and Jim Shepard were present in person. Rita Hoskins, Dan Brennecke, Crystal Miller, Angie Brody, and Brandy Wallace were also present in person. Under old business, there was none. Under new business, Dan and Crystal had asked about getting a shared folder, but there may be issues because of different servers and domains. They will reach out to JR at Tigerhawk to see what needs to be done in order to get that implemented. Casey at the ambulance is continuing to have issues with the phones. They said the internet is still an issue. Derek will email JR to find out what options are available. Under public comments, there were none. Jim Shepard made a motion, seconded by Don Foster, to pay bills in the amount of $3,526.80. The motion passed. Don Foster made a motion. Jim Shepard seconded to adjourn. The motion passed, and the meeting adjourned at 4:17 p.m.
Motion to approve the IT minutes. Motion by Tom, second by Mark. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Lance, Building and Grounds.
Thank you. On December 17th, 2025 at 6 p.m., the Building and Grounds Committee met. Attendees were myself, Tom Lewis, Rita Hoskin, and Scott Circle. At 6 p.m., I called the meeting to order. Tom Lewis made a motion to approve period 13 bills in the amount of $2,045.47. Lance Kendrick second. Motion carried. Tom Lewis made a motion to approve current bills in the amount of $7,834.80. Lance Kendrick second. Motion carried. Under old business, we discussed the PM schedule and building cleaning. We need to find out if the cleaning is on that schedule and what the cost is currently for cleaning the admin building. We need to get the foundation waterproofing rebid. That was a project that was bid almost 2 years ago. So we're going to get some new bids on that and look at getting that building in better shape. Under new business, we just discussed possible grant projects, which include the Florence boat ramp, cameras, the courthouse entrance, jail improvements, and the highway building roof. Tom Lewis made a motion to adjourn. Lance Kendrick second. Motion carried at 6:23 p.m. Meeting adjourned.
Motion to approve the Building and Ground minutes. Motion by Derek, second by Joey. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Tom, Public Safety?
Thank you. Public Safety Committee met at 7 p.m. at the ambulance building. Members present, Tom Lewis, Andy Barman, Jim Shepard, and Rita Hoskins. Also present was Casey Kendall and employees of the Pike County Ambulance Service. Bills, Period 13 is approved by a motion by Barland, second by Shepherd, in the amount of $20,322.73. Motion carried. Fiscal year 26 was approved. Bills were approved on a motion by Shepherd, second by Barland, in the amount of $47,996.73. Motion carried. Administrators report. There were 205 911 calls for November and 2,245 for the year. We've also had 76 transfers from one hospital to another for the month of November. Personnel, we have 2 medics out on medical leave and hope to have them back in February. Fleet maintenance, preventative maintenance is being done on the fleet, and all are in good condition at this time. Education, EMT class is going good with 5 students. CPR classes are being held in the area for fire departments, nursing homes, and the public. Quincy area EMS has new policies that are beginning in 2026, and our employees are doing skill checks on these new policies. Building and grounds are in good shape. Still waiting on Morton Building to do the hail damage on the ambulance building. Education officer was brought up and discussed. Casey's working on a job description for this post, for this position. Motion to adjourn was made by Barland, second by Shepherd. Motion carried, and the meeting was adjourned at 7:29 p.m.
Motion to approve the public safety minutes. Andy, second by Don. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Other committees, the Accommodation Tax Committee did meet, but they only had one proposal, and it was not recommended for consideration by the full board. Any other committees?
Madam Chair, is that, are you paying that committee meeting?
Paying it?
Yes.
No, I was the only one there.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Any new business? Any old business? Chairman's remarks. I want to respond to the vote of no confidence that came up at the last meeting. And I've written my remarks down. They'll only take a couple of minutes. I want to, I haven't been on the board as long as some of you, and I've only served as chair for 1 year. But during that time, I've watched this board dig the county deeper into a financial hole year after year by overspending and covering it with one-time funds. I've watched reasonable questions be dismissed and alternative ideas ridiculed. That's why I, along with others, voted against the 2025 budget. And that is why I ran for chair, to try and change the direction we are heading. I did not create the financial problems, and I did not create the divisions on the board. Those divisions exist because we fundamentally disagree on how to fix the problem. Some believe the solution is to continue tax increases. Others of us believe the solution is controlling spending. As chair, I've worked to bring more transparency to this process. We've made budget changes in open meetings, on record, live stream for the public to see. I held a truth in taxation hearing that had not been done under previous chairs. And while my meetings may not be as tightly run as in the past, I've made sure everyone, board members and the public alike, has had the opportunity to be heard. The vote of no confidence did not address our financial problems. It did not reduce spending. It did not help taxpayers. It served only to distract from the real issues we are facing. The people of this county deserve honesty about where we are and how we got here. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do have a responsibility to face reality and make responsible decisions. And that is the work ahead of us. And I'd like for those remarks to be recorded or attached to the minutes. Going on from that, I want to point out that Scott and I today at 3 o'clock went to the Farmers State Bank and we cashed in 3 of the highways CDs for $750,000. That will let us pay back the money we took from the tort fund, and it will help us meet our expenses. Already this month, and Scott wouldn't have known until after tonight and a couple more things come in, but it looks like we may not be able to cover all the expenses that were approved for December. And in January, we won't be able to make our payroll without cashing in those 3 CDs. So I'm happy that we have an approved budget. I'm happy that we can get started working on it in the Finance Committee. But I just don't want people to lose focus of where things stand with regard to our financial situation. And if there are still people who believe that we really don't have that big of a financial problem, that the revenue's there, we're not going to have any issues, just let me say again, January, it doesn't appear that we'll be able to make payroll without those CDs that we had to cash in. So I just want all of us to keep that in mind. I also want to say that a change that I've talked with Derek about and I've talked with Don about it, I am changing the chair of the Finance Committee to be Derek because I want the focus of the Finance Committee at the beginning of every meeting to be reviewing the budget and the spending to date in light of that budget, as well as the revenue coming in. Don's in complete agreement with this. He's going to stay on the Finance Committee with us, and we'll be taking the lead on some other issues there. I appreciate the work of both of them and their cooperation and working together on all of this, and Lance as well. A couple of other items. At the last meeting, I announced that I was removing Joey from the Two Rivers Regional Council Governing Board. Derek and I, when we originally discussed this, and Derek talked separately with Joey, we thought we were helping Two Rivers because they wanted to get their numbers down. They've been having a terrible time making quorum. So we thought they wanted us to remove one of our representatives. Right now we have Derek, who chairs it, Lance, and Mark Sprague is still on a representative for the group. But when we did that, apparently it took the numbers for the governing board one person below what their minimum needs to be. So Don has agreed to assume the representation on that board for the next year, and I thank you, Don, for doing that. Another item I just wanted to bring up, and Walker, this involves you. If you remember, Keisha, the attorney for the city of Pittsfield, came to a previous meeting and presented an agreement that involved our interactions with regard to solar and windmill applications. We have not gotten back to them on that. Walker, if you can find the time before our January meeting to review that, I thought I would invite her back in January and see if we can move forward on their proposal as a board. Okay, so we will do that. I think that, with regard to the grants from the state with DCEO, Lance mentioned in his minutes for building and grounds that we're compiling a list of items for the $350,000 grant. I wanted to make sure everyone know that we talked before that there are two separate grants. One's the 350,000, the other is 100,000. We did find that that grant was earmarked for the security entrance of the courthouse. Brenda has concerned that has confirmed, Brenda Middendorf, who's helping us with this, confirmed that we can go back and if we can produce the receipts, that we can draw down that money for that. However, Tom pointed out at the Building and Grounds Committee that he thought some of that money was paid out with the judge's grants. So to the extent that is the case, neither Brenda or I think that we'll be able, while we're okay on the retroactive part, we can't use the judge's grants as match. So
I don't think that they were necessarily grants.
They were not grants.
I don't believe it
Money out of
was.
his special fund.
It came out of the court systems fund.
Yes.
okay, then that would be different.
Yeah, that would be different. I just want to clarify that.
Okay.
It wasn't grant money that the judge had. It was just out of his funds
Great.
that he already had
Great.
established.
Then I've asked David to see if he can find any of the past receipts or any information he has on that to get us going on that, because to the extent we can draw it down, then we can deposit that to help us with our expenses. Bryce, I see are you talking on this issue?
Yes, I can clarify some of that.
Please, come ahead.
I don't recall the total cost of that security system downstairs, but I know the judge came to me and I took 70,000 out of special funds to fund that. So, I mean, I think Molly had gotten approved for the grant to be paid back, but we were on the no pay list at the time. So I don't know where that's progressed. But 70 of that would come back to my special funds, which would eventually end up going back to you.
Exactly what was it?
I don't know the total cost,
No, I
but
mean, the front.
the project, it was the security system downstairs and the new front doors there. There's a glass wall that you guys, and a metal detector. I don't know if the metal detector was part of it, but it was done all at the same time. And the judge came to me and I provided 70,000 out of special funds. Beyond that, where the $100,000 is, I don't know, but I mean, if that could be put back into my funds and then be part of what I contribute to you,
Yeah.
we'd have to talk to the judge to see what the total numbers are, but I could probably, me or Scott could come up with some numbers of what they were.
Would you have receipts?
Yeah, I don't know how many years ago that's been, but we'd have to try to go back and find them, but,
But it might have been in like 18 and 19 we did that?
I'm sorry?
Was it about in 2018 or 19 we did that?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
say
like
that Paul
COVID.
was here and he had the metal detector originally. It may not be the same one that ended up being installed, but I remember him in the discussion saying, I've got a metal detector, it's just that, yeah, they test them.
There may be two metal detectors, but is there another one over in the sheriff's office?
Yeah, like I say, it may not be that we used the one that he was talking about, but I remember Paul Payne was in on the initial discussions for that security system downstairs.
Yeah, I know that the security system was put in after I started, and Dave and I started at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think Paul may have started something, but I know when they needed the money to get it done, and we felt like it was coming as a requirement. Plus, we had some things going on in the courthouse that was some mental health issues with somebody that was raising some awareness, and it was time to, so that's why I kicked that in. But I know it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 70,000 that our office did.
Was there anything done around the time in response to COVID?
I don't believe that was related to COVID.
All that was done before that?
It was pre-COVID, I'm pretty sure it was pre-COVID.
Yeah, I think so. And I started in December of 18, so I started fiscal year 19, and I would say it was within that first year or two that the judge came to me for that. And so I know, I'll have to talk to Molly. I think Molly, since she works a lot with the grants, that she had gotten it applied for and got it approved, but then it didn't get paid because of the no pay list. So
Yeah.
Molly may be aware of, she may have all those figures. If she kept them, I know Molly probably did. We'd have to consult her and the judge, but I know my part was 70,000.
Well, that's very helpful to know. So anybody that has any past payment records on that, that will be great, because we're ready to start submitting it and drawing it down to the extent we can find those, so.
I don't know if Scott can answer this, but do you remember if I sent a directive to have money, approved money to take out? Do you remember any of that? I don't remember. Yeah. I don't, you may or may not have any correspondence, but I can't answer that. I just remember that. I was hoping to get that back so that we could put it back, continue what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that was my thoughts on that, so.
All right,
If that
thank you.
helps you any.
It does, thank you.
And then I have a question under press and visitors, but I don't know if that's appropriate yet. Can I just hang here until you get to that point?
Why don't you? Yeah. I just have one more thing on my chairman's remarks. I emailed to each of you a copy of the sheriff's, the latest inspection report for the jail, and you should all have that. I'm sure David's available to answer any questions. In the cover letter to it, the state just encouraged the county to give public awareness of that and let the public know it's available for viewing if anyone's interested. So I just wanted to mention that in the public meeting. And that is it for my remarks. Natalie, can you do the expenses and mileage and per diem?
Yes, ma'am. So we'll start with the billboard report for period 13, so this will be as of November 30th. Building grounds, $2,045.47. Public Safety Committee, $20,322.73. Finance Committee, $54,012.08. Special funds, $571.47 for $76,951.75. The December billboard, building and grounds, $7,834.80. Public safety, $47,996.73. GIS, $3,526.80. Finance, $30,485.78. Special funds, $489.30 for a total of $90,415.58. The mileage and per diem report, the county board meeting on 11/24, all members were present. The county board meeting on 11/25, Mary Cobb was absent. GIS on 12/16, all members were present. Highway 12/17, all members were present. Finance 12/17, all members were present. Building and grounds 12/17, all members were present. Public safety on 12/17, all members, on building and grounds, Mark Mountain was absent. Public safety on 12/17, all members were present. The monthly board pay is at $600. The total is $2,234.50.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the expenses and mileage and per diem reports? Motion by Tom, second by Mark. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Item 16, any comments from the press?
Merry Christmas, everyone. Look forward to a prosperous new year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Bryce, since you're there, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt the meeting earlier, but after you came out of closed session on item 5, discuss and approve clarification regarding employer insurance contributions, I was just wanting some clarification on that. I just didn't want to stop the meeting earlier, so. Just, I understand, I couldn't hear real well, but everything is still continuing as it is, and there's HSA still being paid for those who have the HSA plan. Nothing's changed. Do I understand that correctly? Tonight?
For the, Natalie can reread the motion if that helps.
That would help, yeah, I just.
Would you mind, Natalie?
No. The motion is a motion to continue the board's current insurance contribution through the 2026 plan year for the ambulance employees under the IAM CBA and the Sheriff's Department under the FOP union contracts unless otherwise negotiated with the respective unions.
So I need clarification. Those are all both unions, but what about like courthouse personnel? Are we still on track the same as we are, or?
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing changed at this point.
We said nothing changed.
Well, I just didn't know if anything changed in this closed session. Everything's the same. Okay. That's all I was looking for. I feel like I shouldn't interrupt the meeting during the time, and thank you and Merry Christmas also.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Bryce. Are there other public comments? Okay, not seeing any. Let me say that the next item on the agenda is for us to go into closed session regarding litigation matters. I want to say when we come back out of closed session, it would be my intent to adjourn. So whether you all in the audience want to hang around, that's completely up to you. But the only other item on our agenda after the closed session is the adjournment. So right now, I need a motion to go into closed session. Tom, second by Mark. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. And I am going to turn off the streaming at this point.